Ashwini here again, and in this video I'm going to talk about how I made the names of two of my books. Now these two books are in two different genre. One of them is this book. I think you can see the opposite page. Now this book which I just showed you is a children's book, and the other one which I'm going to talk about, which I titled, is an adult's book in the science fiction genre. So, how do you name a book? What is the title of the book? Now, first of all, naming a book or a poem or even a shop is a very organic thing. Sometimes it comes in just a second. You know what the name is going to be of the book. Sometimes I think books are written or stories are written by just a name. And sometimes you have to do a little bit of research, and some titles you have two or three in mind. Maybe it's based on the main character, it's based on a certain phrase that occurs again and again, or a certain situation that turns up, or there is a very important monument or an object which is of importance in the book. For example, The Bridge on the River Kwai is a movie title, but the bridge is of utmost importance. Uh, and basically, it's a story about human beings and interactions in certain very severe situations. So the name comes up organically, and sometimes you need to do a little bit of research uh, in your book and think a lot. Now, I have two books which I'm going to talk about. The first book is called The Adventures of Little Kanya, the Sonic Reverberator. That's a very, very long name, I know. But how did it come about? When I first started writing this book, um, I thought of only one name for the book, and that was Kanya. And but Kanya doesn't say a lot of things, and plus it's a series, so it's going to have one common title, which is the usual, and the name of that episode or that story part. For example, Harry Potter and the, so Harry Potter and the, then the story comes after it, or the Lord of the Rings, the Twin Towers. Okay, so or you can just have one or two names which are um, central to the theme, and then what is the story about. um, Now, this why did not keep only Kanya, because first of all, when you give a title to your book, you have to make sure that that title is not similar to any other book which is around, and you have to change a little bit if it's a similar titled book. So there was something, I think, a blog called Cool Kanya or something like that. So I said, okay, let's not keep it just Kanya. I think there was a book also called Kanya. So I said, let's have something like, for example, we have the famous five, the Nancy Drew. So once you know what is Nancy Drew, you look down to see what is the episode about. Famous five secrets, and you know what it is. So since this book was like a fantasy story with children in it, so I thought, let's think about the adventures of Tom Sawyer. And so I said, let the adventures of, then I added Little Kanya. So once it's an adventure story and Little Kanya. Kanya, of course, means a young maiden, but or a young girl, very young girl. Before she reaches puberty, she is called Kanya in India. So. So I added little into it so that those who are not into this Indian traditions, like the Southeast Asian or the South Asian subcontinental, to be more clear, traditions of Kanya, will understand little Kanya means it sounds like a girl or little child, right? And then the rest of the name, the Sonic Reverberator, comes below it. So that's the episode's name. So that was for my children's book, okay? Children's fantasy mythology story. Then the next book is a bigger book. It's an adult sci-fi, and it's called Nakshatra of Ethos and the Abodes of the Gods. Now that is quite a long title, but when I wrote this book during that time, long titles was quite a thing during that time. And also, first I thought I will name the book according to the heroine's name, which is called Nakshatra. Nakshatra means basically a collection of stars or a constellation in the sky. But not everybody will know about it. Those who are not deep into astrology or Indian concepts. And since it's a story for older people, it's an adventure story again, a teenage coming of age kind of a story about this girl who is different from the others, and she lives in a very after the apocalypse. Uh, the whole world becomes cold. It's in ice age, and it's like a small community of different people who have survived, and they have a very traditional society, like a tribal community. And there is a virus going on, and she decides to escape to the abodes of the gods, which are in the sky. Basically, these are space cities which were built by human beings and to escape the destruction on Earth. Now, the abodes of the gods was added later because it is a science fiction mythology based story. Modern, it's not even a cyberpunk of that type. So I said, let's add nakshatra of ethos and the abodes of the gods. Now, what is ethos is important because ethos means the name given to earth by these people on earth. Okay, so earth is called ethos. So she escapes to the abodes of the gods. Uh, Now, a long time ago, I had read a book called The Chariots of the Gods, and so the idea kind of came from there. Now, when you have a book ready, a story ready and complete, just go over it. Think of a phrase or think of the main hero or the heroine. Like, for example, Ramayana is all about Ram. But what happened during Ram's time, his adventure basically. So it's Ramayana, okay? So Mahabharat means like what happened during this big war. What happened to India during that war? So if you take Indian examples, so think of different ideas and concepts, write them down on a piece of paper, and just wait. Just make different combinations, make 15 to 10 different combinations at once, and then stop, then come back again and look at those combinations and cut those which you think are really stupid. Cut, don't delete them, but just cut them out. Maybe you will use them again and combine it in a different way. And you can use the generators which are there online as well, but come with a unique title which people will remember and is attractive online. So write it down, look at it, uh, say it out, like The Adventures of Little Kanya, the Sonic Reverberator. It comes automatically in my mind. Nakshatra of ethos and the words of the gods. It comes automatically in my mouth. All right. So there's a rhythm to it. So find out the rhythm in the title, what works for you, what your heart says. Ask a few people as well what is appropriate, and you can, if your book has been taken by the editor, your manuscript has been contracted, then you can always discuss with the editor what sounds good, what doesn't, and finally come up with the name. So combine two or three phrases, names, places, things, or a concept or an emotion, and give a nice ring to it, like a twist to it, like you would do in an advertisement. Okay, so write it down and see what lasts in your heart and in your mind. Okay, so that's about how to come up with the title. See you. Bye bye.